Hey everybody, welcome back to another Nature's Always Right episode. Today I want to talk to you guys about chickens and what to do when they get sick. So what does it look like when your chickens get sick? So there's a bunch of different symptoms, there's a bunch of different viruses and things that they can get. So some of the things that will happen is they'll look lethargic, they might look depressed, they'll be closing their eyes a lot as if they're sleeping. They might have watery or mucousy discharge coming out of their nostrils or their eyes. They could have really runny poop, sort of like diarrhea. A really common thing is just the lethargic, kind of a zombie looking chicken. You'll just notice that they don't behave as peppy and as well as some of your other chickens in your flock. So I'm going to be treating my chicken naturally here, and let me show you what she looks like so you can kind of get an idea. This is not very bad. It's not the best of example of a sick chicken, but I've noticed over the last few days that she's just, been standing around the coop with her eyes closed, a little bit lethargic. So this is the chicken that's looking a little sick to me right here, and she's been sitting here with her eyes closed. But you see how she's looking? She's looking very inquisitively. That's good. You'll notice she moves a little bit slower than the other chickens are moving, not as twitchy. There it is. Do you see how she's closing her eye like that? That's what's worrying me. So you can test them out too. If I get closer, she should react to me. She should want to move away. She's doing that. That's really good. That looks great. That's a great response. If you get close to them and they're not moving away from you, and they're just sitting there really tired looking, that's a real bad sign. And she's been like this for a few days where there she goes, and she moves away. But something looks a little off in that chicken. When I look at her, I look in her eyes, I'm looking at her nose where the nostrils are. There's nothing coming out of there. There's no leakage coming from her eyes or anything. There's nothing wrong with her foot. Her butt looks extremely clean, so she's not like pooping all over herself. So the different signs that I could normally see, I don't see any issues with her, other than the lethargy. Yeah, see how she's just very slow to move, unsure of herself. Those are not normal actions of the barred rock chicken. I'm also wanting to check out her body, make sure there's no cuts or things like that on there. I don't see blood. There could be a possible infection. I don't see any signs of that. So more than likely, it's just sort of like a little chicken flu, basically, and something that she can overcome. So now that you've kind of seen a little bit of what it looks like, what are your options now? What can you do to treat this chicken? You could, of course, go to a veterinarian. You could get antibiotics. You can do that for chickens. That would be a very expensive visit. It'd be much cheaper to just buy another chicken. I don't recommend using antibiotics for farm animals in any situation, really. It's better just to cull the animal. And that might be something that you don't want to think about as a chicken owner, but if you're going to raise animals, especially farm animals, this is something that you have to consider. And chickens are a farm animal that's pretty weak. They die. If you raise chickens, you are going to experience the death of one of your birds. It's guaranteed. It's going to happen. And I just want to prepare you for that moment. So then why would you want to cull the bird or, kill it before it passes away on its own? One of the big reasons is so that infected bird doesn't infect the rest of your flock and you end up with multiple dead birds, or you could even lose an entire flock. If you had one of the really bad chicken viruses, it could just wipe them all out. So by killing one of them, you're saving the rest of the lives of the rest of your flock. So that is something to consider. Now, this bird does not look sick enough to need to cull it. So I will not be doing that. So don't worry. So one of the best recommendations that I can give you is if you have a sick bird like that, it's a really good idea to have two coops. Have a main coop that's very large where the birds are most of the time, and you should have a secondary coop where you can put birds that are maybe sick, or maybe the new generation of birds that are a little bit smaller and you want them to get bigger before you introduce them to the rest of your chickens so that they don't get hurt by the other chickens. It's a really good idea to have two coops. I currently do not have that, so I don't have the option of excluding them, quarantining them in some other location. If they were sick enough, then maybe I would have to, put something together very quickly. But in this case, I'm not going to be doing that. So quarantining is the number one option. Just get them, 50 feet away from your other chickens so that either nature will take its course and they'll die, or you can treat them, they'll get better, and then you can reintroduce them back into your flock so that they don't infect the other birds. So now option number 2 would be to treat them with some sort of natural antibiotic, antiviral thing. So what would that be? Let's check those out. Okay, so I've got 3 ingredients here that are very effective. So here, of course, we have some garlic, chopped up about 6 cloves, but garlic is fantastic, antibacterial and antiviral. So then we have oregano oil. This is fantastic for humans as well as animals. It's just another great antibacterial, antiviral. I'll be putting in about 3 dropperfuls of that. And then here I have lactic acid bacteria, which is a Korean natural farming input. And if you want to learn how to make this, go watch Chris Trump's video, How to Make Lab, on YouTube, and you can learn how to do this. This is a powerful probiotic that you can make yourself at home. It's also, all 3 of these are excellent for human consumption as well, especially if you're sick or you have food poisoning, things like that. So all 3 of these together. So this is going to provide really good probiotics. And then these 2 are going to be for knocking out whatever virus or bacteria issue that they may have. And, feeding your chickens these things, once a month is even a good idea as a part of your routine to help keep them healthy and disease free. But I'm going to give them kind of a big dose, and all the chickens are going to be drinking it. I'll be putting it all in this feeder. So let's set this up for them. For the lactic acid bacteria, between a teaspoon and a tablespoon in here. And I love having these extra little water feeders. As you guys know, I use my automatic 55-gallon drum system, but I always have a backup so that I can feed them medicated water. And I'll put a link to the description in for a nice water feeder that you can use at home. This is always the tricky part. You gotta flip it really quick. There we go. And then there's small little chunks in there of the garlic. A lot of the garlic will just stay in here and infuse into that water, and then they'll get little garlic chunks as well. Okay, let's go set this up for the girls, and then we're all done. So another great little supplement that you can feed your chickens. This is just leftover kimchi water. So that brine has lots of good probiotics and lactobacillus and stuff like that. Also, if you make your own yogurt or any type of fermented things, fermented grain, all of that is excellent for animal health as well.